Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the MilsimUnits.com podcast. I'm C. Brock, and with me here tonight, we have Captain Morgan from Squad Ops. Captain, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me, Brock. I appreciate your time and the time on the podcast. I'm really looking forward to being able to answer some questions that community might have at large and kind of give you a feeler for what Squad Ops is about.
Absolutely. Well, it's great to have you here. Like I was saying before we started, your presence in the community is really outstanding. You got a really big recognizable name, but there are so many details and so much information behind the scenes that I'm curious about. I know that we've got a lot of people, the audience, on the website every day for that matter, who want to learn more about, what you have going in the unit. So with that, let me start with you, Captain. Can you tell me how'd you get started with Milsim Gaming? What's your history, and how is it that you ended up with Squad Ops?
Well, mine is a little bit odd. It's a little bit different than some other people's, history. Some folks grew up gaming, and I really didn't. I grew up kind of on a farm, doing farm chores and such, and it wasn't really until I was a teenager that we really started, playing more games and things of that nature. I kind of got started in gaming with my younger brother playing old school RuneScape. I don't know if you remember that game or not.
Absolutely. Yep.
That was a lot of fun. And I played that up until I think it was my junior year in high school. And my senior year, I enlisted in the Marine Corps, and I did 13 years and got out in 2018. Early 2017, I got home from a deployment, decided to take some time to go visit with my brother, and he kind of was pushing this concept of these Milsim shooter games, and that they weren't the Call of Duty stuff, which I really enjoyed everything up. I would say up until Black Ops 2 or so.
Hmm.
They had good storylines, and they were entertaining. But he kind of put me on to Arma at first, and then he had me basically hop in this game called Squad and participate with the community that I'm now a part of, which is Squad Ops, and play in one of their One Life events on his account. And he kind of got me hooked. I had another deployment after that I had to go do, and when I got back, I basically said, I'm gonna get medically discharged and have all of the knee injuries and shoulders and hands and feet and all that stuff fixed. And during that time, I've got nothing but air and opportunity between me and learning this gaming thing. And so I bought my first PC. I put it together myself, and I should say gaming PC. Put it together myself and started playing Squad with Squad Ops, and that was a big transition for me. I really enjoyed the game in its infancy. This was, back when it was in, beta stages before, release 1.0. And I really enjoy playing the game even today. It's has its moments that still surprise me. Some of them are silly, some of them are adrenaline pumping. Some of them are, the tactician's mind that you kind of think through a problem. But it still never ceases to surprise me. And with the new UE5 release coming soon, that is going to make this, game graphically better. To a point that I think it's still competitive in the landscape, even as it sits. There's not that many shooters out there that really compare. Even if you take like Armor Forger, it is similar, but they're different enough that they have their own kind of niches, if that makes sense. So
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
anyway, that's my history.
That's pretty cool, man. I mean, yeah, it's definitely, I think, a little bit unique, compared to some of our guests here on the program. But yeah, I mean, you grew up all-American boy. You kind of did what you had to do, served your country, and then, you got into Milsim. That's the thing. You kind of hit the ground running, with your military background, more mature age, getting into gaming. So it's like you kind of leveled up, ahead of the curve there. Really interesting, but yeah, I can see, going from like the real life to, Milsim gaming, how that would be. A lot of vets, they go that avenue. Like you said, they don't want, Call of Duty is fun to an extent, but it's the same old story, after so many titles. So, and the online experience just is not all that. So, I can relate with a lot of what you're saying. But yeah, so you went back all the way to the 2017 2018 era there, in between deployments and discharge. How did Squad Ops get started? I mean, how far back does the unit go? And who was involved with that way back when?
Yeah, so April of 2026 will make 10 years for us. And the concept started 6 months or so before that with Karma Cut and several of his dear friends, kind of initiating this concept of wanting to share to the world the fun and enjoyment that they were getting from this game specifically. And Karma, I don't know if you caught our podcast we had with him on our show.
Sure.
I guess that was about a month ago. But Karma really didn't have this bone in his body to want to be this outwardly, expressionistic performer for YouTube. What he really wanted was just to showcase to people how important this game was, or is rather, and the sorts of things that you can do in this game that you just can't do anywhere else. And he just wanted to share that sense of joy and emotion that he got from this game specifically. And that's kind of the beginning of Squad Ops, was just wanting to share that with people, and it grew pretty rapidly. I mean, we had about 4,000 members by 2018, and now we're sitting over, I think we're almost at 15,000 now. We've had some spikes where, as the game kind of picks up, we've had spikes up to 20,000. 21,000 at its height in 2001, just post COVID. But as the game has kind of waxed and waned, and we've seen some of that progression. Obviously, I'm sure a lot of folks have, especially with the ICO update, things like that. Some members have gone off to other places, or they're playing other games, and they don't want to, participate in a squad centered Discord anymore. And so that's kind of what's changed for us as well. Is we are no longer specifically centered on squad. That is our primary game, but we host Armor Forger stuff. We actually had a crew of about, I think it was about 35 people, 30 or 35 people playing a Rust White today. So, our goal is to kind of, delve away from just playing squad to offering kind of a gaming hub for as many Milsim shooters as people want to play.
Sure. And to be honest, that's the kind of vibe I'm getting from the Discord, from your YouTube channel. And again, I mean, your presence is outstanding. I've got so many links here. I'm going to put them in the description below for everybody to check out, get eyes on for themselves. You really got to see it to believe it. But I mean, 15,000, 20 some thousand members, that blows my mind. Coming from a unit that runs, company sized, formations, at the 80 to 100, person kind of head count there. Having that many people in the community, on and across the servers, it's really amazing. And I can tell, Karma, really, he has put his heart into it. He's such a big enthusiast and also a supporter. When you check out his vids, his prior streams of Squad Ops in the community there, he really, like you said, he's doing this because he wants to showcase the best that is out there. So really impressive, really incredible. And like I said, you gotta see it to believe it. So check out those links. But again, you started with squads. A squad, based, servers and gameplay. Originally, got into Arma 3. I've seen Armor Reforger and of course Rust. You can check that out on the Discord as well, to see what's going on there. But can you tell me about how the unit structures its ops? I mean, obviously you got a lot going for you, but I'll let you speak for yourself. What makes all of your your different aspects of gameplay unique compared to other Milsims out there?
I would say probably the most unique thing about us is we are not a true milsim. We are definitely milsim light. There's no, yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. It's very much a group of players getting together to play a game, but we do it in a serious way. So we have training programs for everything from a basic certification course where you can come if you haven't even done the training program that Squad has, in their main menu. We can take you from having no experience in this game whatsoever to being a functioning, participating member in one of our kind of our cornerstone events, which is our One Life events that we host every Wednesday and Saturday. And you can participate and play, get kills, enjoy yourself, know exactly what to expect each and every time you come to those events. And we have courses all the way up through an assaulter course, which teaches you, how to disembark vehicles, how to disembark, helicopters, how to assault a compound, how to use that kind of team unity and cohesiveness to take down, a target, to a CQB course, which gives you kind of that pieing technique and teaching you how to clear hard and soft corners, teaching you how to do it by yourself, with two, with three, with four, with an entire squad, and all the way up to a helicopter certification course, which if you want to learn how to fly helicopters in squad, it's extremely difficult. I would say it's probably on the scale of 1 to 10, like an 8, as far as milsim games go. And our pilot instructors have taken people with literally zero experience, and they're J hooking, they're swan diving into these locations and dropping people in tight areas and doing it effectively. And they're very good at what they do. And so that's kind of, I guess, probably, the thing that makes us different is that we're not milsim heavy, but we offer courses that teach you how to do the things that we think are really enjoyable. And we've actually seen kind of some of those functionalities cross over, not just in our events, not just in other folks' One Life or Multi-Life, or we have other events like Scenario Sundays, which are a multi-life event that's a single round. We've got Super Fun Saturdays, which are a multi-life event that can be multi-round. But we've also had some success with, kind of our tactics on the tournament front, which is kind of a deep departure from what most folks in the comp realm and squad like to see. But we feel that it's one of our biggest strengths is that we bring something to the table that's unique and different. And the guys that we have participate have a skill set that most of those other guys don't have. And so it's just kind of that kind of, unique feature that we offer to the community at large.
Sure, that's outstanding. Now you mentioned that you're Milsim light, that you don't have the kind of the hardcore customs and courtesies that a really super immersive unit might have. Can you tell me? I mean, what's it like on the ground for your typical member in terms of the balance of realism and immersion within the squad, and then having fun just as a gamer, as a team.
Yeah, I mean, I can give you kind of some examples of that. Our goal is to create, cinematic, thematic experiences that kind of bring the user into this game and make them feel a part of it. It's like when you're reading a book, and you get to that good part that kind of sucks you in, and you can feel yourself there with the character. That's kind of what we want to do with people with this game, is to bring them into those immersive moments where they get to experience this game in a way that they might not, in a public server match or in a tournament, game. And we have relative success with that. Obviously, we've been around for 9 years, going on 10, and our number count is good. But one of our, I guess, one of the biggest things that I could say for a new user coming in is just to keep an open mind. We're going to do things a little bit differently. We've partnered with folks like First RB, with Fifth ID, with First ID. We partnered with Shadow Company, and even some folks that were out of Taiwan for quite some time, which was a really, really cool, unique experience as well. Just kind of seeing the different ways that they like to play the game. And then we kind of bring them into our environment. We show them how we play games, and it really sucks a lot of people in. You'll play it because it's a fresh look on things. And so that new user experience when they come in, first thing they're going to do is they're going to hop in a pre-operation channel. We only have one of them, so you just hop in the channel, you hang out and wait. Um, Prior to that, you should sign up on our website, which is squadops.gg. I'm sure that's one of the links you posted, but I'm gonna shill it for a second and create an account, because that gives you access to admin cam during our event. So if and when you die and you're able to go in admin cam, you can now get that third person view that lets you go all over the map. And our mod team has done some incredible things with our camera tools, and more than that. I mean, we've got an AC-130 in there now. We've got CAS helicopters. We had CAS helicopters before they were released by OWI, and a number of other things, suppressors on a bunch of different guns. We have kits for special forces units and all sorts of craziness. That new user, when they create an account, they sign up on the website for our event, they come out for that first time, they hop in a pre-op channel. You're going to meet a gentleman named Liberal. Liberal is I might botch this, but I believe he's 74 this year. He's a 74-year-old man who loves this community and loves this game with a passion that is unrivaled. And he will, if you ask questions, he is the guy that will teach you the ways of how to do things within Squad Ops. He is our old man. He is, this kind of, parental figure to some extent. He's the guy that checks us when we need to be checked. And Liberal's going to answer any questions that you might have in our pre-operation channel. An admin will hop in, they'll get everybody together, they'll give you a rules brief, they'll put you in the operations channel, and you'll hang out there and wait while we finish getting the operation experience set up for you. That might be, we've got to spawn in vehicles, we've got to get, the team leads, the squad leads, and the commander to a certain location for their starting point. They might have to build things, whatever the case may be, and then we launch you guys into the game. And from that point moving forward, you're kind of in this immersive experience. And we take great pride in our leadership ability and our capabilities there, and we showcase it every week. So that's kind of the thing. Now, each person gets to take away something different. So as an example, last night we had an operation. The last guy alive on the INS side, round 2, he fought a hell of a fight. He put an RPG onto one guy, shot another guy as they were coming down over a hill. I believe he actually killed me with an RPG as well as I was streaming earlier in the round. And he's crawling through the grass trying to get to the strong point that the U.S. has established since they made their way through their transition period. And he's trying to crawl his way through the grass. And a Matt V drives up to him, doesn't shoot him, drives over the top of him. The tires of the vehicle launched him through the ground and sent him into, the nether regions. And for some people, that's immersion breaking. For him, he thought it was hilarious. And everyone watching, as we sat there in this channel, because we undeafen and unmute once you're dead, they sat there in this channel and everybody was laughing about how this is, how is this the way this guy goes? He just John Rambo'd his way through 5 or 6 people. And suddenly this is how he ends. This is how this happens. But that's that immersive experience, man. That's the thing that we're trying to cultivate.
Yep.
Hopefully that gives you an answer.
Yeah, death under a vehicle, man. That's hell. That's what infantry life is all about. But no, that's outstanding. And I mean, again, you got to see it to believe it. And your videos do it some justice. It's great getting that kind of deeper perspective from the inside. And that leads me to ask about the culture within Squad Ops. I mean, what's the community like? For the members, what kind of camaraderie do you foster and experience as a unit?
Gotcha. So we're really open. We have a community engagement team whose sole job in the Discord is to literally engage our community. It's in their name. And one of the things that they do is whenever someone joins our Discord, they'll send them a personalized, and it's not just a blanket, copy and paste thing. They'll send them a personalized message and say, hey, thank you for coming out. Here's some operations you might, be looking forward to. I'll be a point of contact for you. If you have questions, comments, concerns, anything comes up, hit me up. If you see me in channels, hop in a channel, hang out and talk with us. We have lounge channels that are open to anyone. So if you're just a not even a basic certified individual, if you're just someone coming fresh off the boat, you can hop in a lounge channel. There's typically between 4 and 16 to 20 people sitting in those channels at any given time. And then from there, we have kind of some steps. And so we are, I don't know if we're the only, but I feel like we're one of the only nonprofit organizations. So we're technically a club. We're a 501c7. And so we operate a club, which allows us to bring in money for the club through a Patreon program. And so the club status gives you kind of a direct approach to changing things within the community because it gives you the right and ability to vote on things. It also gives you whitelist on our public servers and a few other things as you kind of step through the tiers. But one of the big things that gives you is access to additional channels where people are a little more open about talking about specific things. Some folks will do kind of a Q&A on we've talked with a number of folks, folks in the money market kind of side of stuff, stockbrokers and such, that they want to put on a course to teach people, a little bit better about how to manage your money, or, how to set up a 401k, or what should you do if this happens. We've had folks that have set up kind of a repository of knowledge. Some folks will share their private Instagram messages in there that kind of showcase some pictures of places that they went, the things that they did, and that's kind of the first level at which you start getting that kind of personal relationship stuff.
Sure.
Along with that, we have it's an outside Discord. Technically, it's not a part of the club. But you can be invited to participate in this outside Discord, which is our meetup Discord. And so we've done, I want to say at this point in time today, 8 or 9 separate meetups where we've had anywhere from 7 to 30 people in the Discord who, the very first one was a little nerve-wracking. But strangers, just online friends that have never met in person, go all over the country here in the US. Or the UK. We've had a meetup or 2 there as well. And folks just get together and hang out and have a good time. We've done hog hunts. We did Gettysburg. We did DC. We've done a few others. Chicago was another one that we did. And so we've done, 8 or 9 at this point in the last 2 years that have been an incredible kind of connection with these people that you're spending, a portion of your life with. And so that's kind of the club level. And from there, you can be nominated from the club level to become a regular in the community. And so they are our ambassadors to the outside world. So they're folks that can wear our ops tag without having to participate in any other way. You're a regular in the community. You come around, you participate in events, you participate in our game of the month programs, play on the public servers, hang out and talk in the Discord. There's a laundry list of ways that you can achieve that status, but essentially it's a peer vote. And so your group of your peers, about 200 of them, will get together and they will vote on if they would like you to become a regular in the community. And that's kind of, again, where it narrows down even more. From there, you have our staff level, which I can't thank our staff enough. We have about 125 right now as it sits, staff members from all walks of life, from 18 years old, fresh out of high school, going into college, all the way up to, I think our oldest staff member is 56 or 57. He's got a full-time job and has grown kids, and he's in that kind of end stage of his career where he's able to give some knowledge to folks that we might not have elsewhere. And so that kind of all walks of life approach has really garnered us some incredible talent within that staff pool. From there, we have our assistant managers, and then we have our managers, and then we have our board members. And so the kind of the structure, social structure, if this kind of helps you understand a little bit, is our AMs and managers run the day-to-day operations. So our staff members do the tasks, AM and managers are also doing tasks as well, but they're kind of a little more high level. So they're having to handle multiple projects at one time. So, as an example, I was the community manager from late 2020 up until December of this past year, when I stepped down from that position and just stayed as the manager of our human resources team, which handles all of our staff applications, handles all of our regular applications, and a few other things. And essentially, that community team had all sorts of things we were doing. Community outreach, internal and external. Our community game events that we host every month. Our club member status work. So making sure that our club members have the right perms for the right locations and for the right statuses. And the list is endless. And so, kind of as that manager and level, you're overseeing the structure of a team, and then making sure that the day-to-day tasks are being done. And if they aren't being done, you're the one to do them. And then from there, and it's kind of a hand-in-hand proposition. So our board members, I am a board member for the club. Um, we essentially handle the club side of things. And so our job is to look not just day to day or week to week, but what's going to happen 6 months from now? How can we make this place better a year from now? What can we offer to our community that solves a problem now, but doesn't create a problem in the future? And so we kind of have this ability to, as Karma did in past years, focus on that real high level picture of driving a community forward into not just the next year, but maybe 5 years down the road, maybe another 10, who knows? And that's kind of that structure for the board group. And so it can be a bit daunting when you come in as a new public player, but we try and make it as open and comfortable as possible with the structure that we have.
Sure. I mean, that's the thing. Every unit, every Milsim out there, every clan, every club needs good leadership. Without leadership and without finances to back up their operations, to pay for the servers, to pay for the website, all the incidentals, the community is not going to last for very long to begin with, let alone long enough to grow and thrive and attract like-minded others over time. It really sounds like you've got a great thing going, very unique, very detailed and structured. But at the same time, you guys have a huge community to take care of, to work with, and to give a reason to keep coming back, day in, day out, week after week. So kudos to you for that. Really enlightening to learn about how the unit has grown and what goes into that growth behind the scenes. I got to ask though, so squad ops, you guys are running these huge servers, huge campaigns, all these game sets. Do you have any funny or unexpected moments in your experience as a member, as a leader, in a training event, in an operation? What's something that would make people laugh if they saw it for themselves?
Well, there's two, and luckily both of them were caught on stream. So somewhere out there, if you search a clip, you can find them. Um, and there's more than just these. Well, I'll give you three. There's more than just these three. But I'll start with the first one. The first one is it was a blunder made by one of our squad leads. I'll keep his name out of it, but if you search in ops media, mortar blunder, or squad lead gets his whole team killed, or you just search up Boogie. That's one of the guys that caught it on the clip on the stream. You kind of go back through his messages, you can find it. But we had a squad lead that decided, I believe it was on his commander told him to do it, but he kind of probably should have known not to do this thing. But it's in one of our One Life events. He put his entire squad on top of an exposed building on the rooftop and had everybody go prone up there. and you hear a mortar round land about 30 feet away, and you hear all of the people on the rooftop get real nervous, like, oh man, that was close. Okay, well, should we go back down? Like, what should we do here? And then you hear a second one, and it's closer, and they go, okay, all right. And you hear the squad leader go, nope, we're supposed to be here. Tighten up, hang out. It's going to be fine. We're going to be okay. And as he's saying something like, we're going to be okay, right there at the end, the third mortar round lands on top of all of them, and they all die.
Oof.
And that's it. That was the white for their episode in that particular event, and it was it's one of those things that if you don't laugh at it, it becomes really aggravating. But in retrospect, when you're looking at this clip, you're just like, oh my God, I'd hate to be one of those people on the roofs, but I'm so glad we caught that clip. You know what I mean?
Yep, yep, yep.
Um,
Documenting the infantry life.
exactly. Another one, shout out to Frost. He's our current community manager. He's a good friend of mine. Frost and I actually met up for the first time. I believe it'll be 3 years ago, maybe going on four now, in Texas for a hog hunt. And he actually drove all the way to my house, picked me up. I loaded about $40,000 worth of firearms and ammunition in the back of his Jeep. Had never met this guy before in my life. And we drove in kind of awkward silence for about 30 minutes. And then we started talking. And Frost is an incredible person. And I love him to death. But Frost is a guy that Arma 3 and he did not get along with well. He had so many trouble. And there's so many confusing keybinds if you don't set them to something else.
Yep.
And someone had told him to, I believe it's G for your grenade.
Yep.
Someone had told him that he needed to go in the settings and he needed to change the setting from single G for grenade for you to toss it to a double tap so you don't make the mistake of accidentally throwing the grenade. And he goes in the settings, and I'm standing there about 20 feet from him, and I hear him go, okay, I think I got it. And he taps G just to see if it worked. And he didn't set it right or didn't apply the settings or something. And he throws a grenade at someone's feet and blows up him and Frost and a couple of the other guys that were there. And those guys, it's an Arma 3 event. We were able to get them spawned in relatively quickly, and it wasn't that big of a deal. It was a PvE event. It wasn't a PvP event. So it wasn't, the stakes weren't quite as high. But that's like, it sticks in my mind because every time we have this conversation with Frost about, hey, you're gonna come out to Arma again? He's like, I don't know, man. I don't know about these grenades. I don't know about these. There's too many controls. It's too confusing. And Frost is an incredible person, so don't take this as slander in any way, Frost, if you watch this. But man, that was so funny. The last one, and it's an ongoing thing for me. Tootie, Tootie Root, as he used to be known. Now his name is just Tootie, and I have this ongoing banter back and forward. And it started on Operation where I was squad leading. Another good friend of mine named Bao was squad leading as well. I've met Bao several times in person as well. And we were squad leading together. Tootie was in my squad. And I don't remember how the subject came up, but we started talking about as infantrymen do or as Marines do, right? About let's just use the word grunts, right? As grunts do, different colloquial terms for certain things, such as I'm going to climb this hill and we're going to name this hill Tootie's mom, and thus I'm going to fuck Tootie's mom. If you need to blurb out the word, I understand.
All good.
One of our other guys took that from, because I was streaming, took that clip from Twitch, took the audio from it, ripped it out, put a certain, we'll use adult entertainment website, startup song at the beginning of it. The initials are PH, and it's a soundboard in our Discord now. So anytime you want to say, I'm going to fuck your mom, Tootie, you can just click a soundboard in our Discord. That made me laugh so hard when he sent this soundbite to me. And he's like, set this as a soundboard thing, and I was like, okay. And I listened to it. I just put it in there and clicked the button. I was like, I lost it. I was laughing so hard for so long. But that's the silly goofiness that we get up to, man. It's all on the fly. None of it's curated. It's all just entertainment value. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely, keeping it real. I mean, mixing the gameplay experience, the real life experience, just having a good time together. There's something to be said about that, and I think it's a testament to your success as a unit. Why you have such high numbers of people getting involved and sticking with it over the years. So with a unit this size, a nonprofit, a club, about as formal as you can get in terms of milsim gameplay. What's one of the biggest challenges that you faced, and how have you overcome it? In your leadership.
Well, I think these things go in cycles, and I've been in the community at a leadership position long enough to recognize it. And it's about every 6 to 12 months we'll have something pop up that is like it could be the end of a community. It could be the choke point that just draws us to nothing and is the final thing that bleeds us out, and we persevere through it. That's the thing. You have these guys, and I'm not calling anyone by name. I certainly don't want to do that because I've been one of those guys as well in the past. But you just like I'll take 2021 as an example. Post COVID, during COVID, everybody's playing video games. Post COVID, maybe 6 months to 9 months in, people are having to find jobs, right? Because the money's drying up and jobs are becoming available,
Yeah.
and people stop showing up to events. People stop participating in the public server. Squads numbers went from something like 10 to 12,000 average players a day down to like 3,000. It was a huge hit, and we had to adapt or die. I remember sitting in on a Saturday. This is not just one time. This is like an amalgamation of memories in my head for the 9 months that I did it. Just sitting in a channel, seating a server, hanging out, testing out guns, flying a helicopter, driving a truck around, and just waiting for people to slowly show up to this server. And it would take 3 to 4 to 5 hours, and then suddenly the floodgates would open and people would start coming into the server. And it was that feeling of just like, okay, I've done. It was such hard work. It was such unappreciated work at times. We had guys that would tell us, this game is dying. Why don't you quit? Why do you keep doing this? And it's that, I'm not going to quit mentality. I've had that most of my life. I'm not going to quit at this thing just because it gets hard. That's the mentality that we look for, and that's, I think, the biggest reason why we've been successful as we have in the past and in the present, and why we'll be successful in the future. And hopefully
Yeah.
that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. I mean, talking about leadership there, I mean, presence, dedication, the hard work, being the first one to show up, the last one to leave. That's what goes into success. And, it's not just a one man thing. I mean, you're working as a team, setting the example, but still, you got to motivate other people to show up in the first place to get involved. So, well done over these many years of keeping this unit and the experience going. So, you mentioned COVID. How else has Squad Ops evolved over time? I mean, have there been any big changes? I mean, yeah, you moved on, or you've included different games, on your servers. But, can you think of any kind of evolution that the unit has undergone, and what you've learned from it?
Oh, very much so. We've had evolutions every year. I mean, it's a
Hmm.
constantly evolving process. It's a living organism almost at this point.
Hmm.
I'll take an example that I pointed out just a minute ago with the seating of public servers. I will hop in as my time allows. My schedule has gotten incredibly busy. I'm a business owner at this point, and I have found myself with very limited time, father of two as well. And so we've got piano practice and softball and soccer, and we're heading into the summer season where these kids are, I want to take them on trips and take them camping and take them to go see sights. And I'm just not around. But the guys that are picking up the torches are guys like Whitesides and Deadline and Baron Von Boom and Machine Hugs and Bow and so many others, Lemon Sledge. And these guys are picking up this torch and they're kind of running with it. And that's an evolution. You might not see it in that sense, but that's the the newer people, or in the case of some of those guys, they've hit a cycle in their life where they're able to put a little more time back into this endeavor and they're able to do these things again. And guys like Assault and Sanguine Demon, um, guys like Ozzy Wookie and Fire of Lore and Culper and so many others, Skresky, guys just taking time out of their life to do this thing. And that evolution is one of sometimes simplistic change where it's just a new person. Skresky replaces James on the SOT team. Frost replaces myself on the community team. But oftentimes that simple change leads to more drastic things. Skresky replacing James as the SOT manager this past year. James did some pretty incredible things during his tenure as manager of that team. But Skresky has adapted those things into something different now. When I was the manager of the community team to begin with, I was, being hoisted up by Evan SMA. And then I took the kind of vision that he had cultivated there and then and transitioned into this giant big green monster that we ended up having to divide into 3 teams because there was just so much to do that one manager, unless they were going to devote a good portion of their life to doing it, wasn't going to be able to handle it all. And that's the evolution, man. That's what it is. It's people. And that people bring change, and that change can be good or bad, but as long as you adapt to both the good and the bad, it's always good.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean, whether you're working on a farm or you're developing a milsim. They say many hands lighten the load, and
Mhm.
having those different tiers, these new and upcoming generations of leaders ready to pick up the torch, as you said. That's what it takes. Again, I mentioned leadership a few moments ago about how important that is, but it's not just one man or one team even, one group of managers. It's everybody's got to do their part, and some guys are going to do a little bit more. They're going to be called upon to pick up a little bit more of the load, or again work to set an example for others. But sounds like you fostered a unit, a system, if you will, a club that takes that very seriously, so that when that next evolution does happen rather, you have the right people in the right places to carry it through and lead everyone else to success. So outstanding again. Now, you mentioned just how involved you are with the unit, how many supporters you have. Some of the operations that you've done with other units out there. Can you tell us a little bit about how you interact with the broader community? Whether that's on the servers or on other unit servers or on the web, Discord and so on. It's like how do you get to know these other units and get things going with them?
Well, that was kind of one of my big pushes as the community manager when I had that title, was to develop these outside relationships with communities as they were up and coming.
Hmm.
We saw guys like Baja Boys, First RB, and many, many others that have, established a cornerstone for themselves in this community, have this drive behind them that's new, fresh, and engaging, and we wanted to be a part of it. We wanted to be able to give those guys a taste of what 6, 7, 8, 9 years of experience can bring. And we wanted to be able to show them how we like to do things on our side, and then take notes from them about how we can do things differently in the future. One of those moments led to the formation of the club. We saw such great success with some of these guys with their Patreon subscription. We started taking a look at stuff, and we realized really quickly that we don't have a traditional structure where there's one single person who has the keys to the castle. We have Karmacut, who's our founder. We have Barton, who's our founder. But those guys are founders. They're not there for a leadership presence anymore. And so we're run, for lack of a better term, by committee, which can be slower at times and a lot slower than people want. But it keeps us fresh. It keeps us new. It keeps us, engaged in the community, and we try and handle problems as quickly as we can when they come up. But seeing these guys have such great success with, their Patreon subscription, it got us thinking, okay, well, we prior to that had never taken any money in, and God bless Karma and Barton. From day one, when they started their other venture, one of their other ventures, I should say, with the Stardays being another, when they started up AWN.GG, they gave Squad Ops a gaming server for free. And to this day, we don't pay a dime for a gaming server. That is their contribution to the community, is providing this server for us to use for our everything, our Reforger servers. We have a Foundry D&D server that's on there that we play D&D 1 to 2 nights a week on. Our squad public servers are on there, our event servers are on there, and it's just an incredible contribution that these two people have given this community, and they want to see it thrive. And that's kind of the passion they have for us, which is amazing. But we have things that we wanted to do. We wanted to establish, Google Forms and set up, battle metrics and work through, these new tools that people didn't have in 2016, didn't have in 2018, didn't have in 2020. And they really started to develop that system in 2021 and 2022. We didn't have the funds at a community level to do anything with, because we never took any money in. Our whitelist on our public server was free up until 2023. And 2023, we made this change. We established ourselves as a 501c7, and we started taking in funds from the public. And that's led us to some pretty incredible things here. We're able to, do a lot more having funds come in than we could ever do before. But none of that would have happened unless we did some of this outreach. And so, oddly enough, how I got started with you guys was actually through this community Discord that I created called the Squad Communities Hub. I actually created it for a very selfish reason, which is, as I was reaching out to all these, outside communities, I'd have 1 or 2 of my assistant managers. I might have a staff member from my side in there, if they're going to be the point person for this specific community. And then that community's got their leadership profile, which might be 4 or 5 or 6 people deep. And suddenly we've got like 2 separate chats that pop up because you can't fit everybody in the same chat channel. And I got lost trying to keep track of who's on first base, who's on third. So I created this Discord in a way to try and keep myself sane. But as it evolved, I really came to this understanding that I could use it for a lot more than that, through the help of, First RB and the folks over there, kind of pushing me in that direction. They were a huge help in getting it set up and established to what it is today, which is a repository of communities, much like the Milsim group is, but on a slightly different level, because it's just the leadership from those groups. So various things occur there. We share events. We also share problem players. We don't necessarily want to go to OWI if we don't have the metrics that they might say necessarily meet, the ability to ban someone from your public server. But they want people to know that, hey, this guy's throwing up, Nazi, symbology on our Discord. We've kicked him from the server, but unfortunately one of our guys deleted the photos, hit the button to delete the photos for the last 24 hours. And so we just don't have any evidence, but he's a guy you want to watch out for. Okay, cool. Now the 40 or 50 communities we have in there all can look at this, go, okay, this guy, his online personality here is not good. We probably don't want him as a part of our community. And that's kind of what that has established itself as. And through First RB, I was introduced to you guys, which has led to many, many good things, including this conversation.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, I mean, definitely, you guys have deep roots, really, good and, fruitful relationships. And it's a pleasure to have you on the platform and to talk with you here tonight. So I got to ask, I mean, you have a focus with community relations, community outreach as such. I mean, you're in there, working with managers and the kind of influencers, the board, if you will. What does the future of Squad Ops look like? I mean, where do you guys see the unit, the experience a year from now, say going into summer 2026?
I'm going to give you two answers here. The first one is I guess, the correct answer, the politically correct answer, which is we don't know. No one knows what the future is going to hold. And as a board member, I can't categorically say that we're going to go one direction or another until we have some more information about things. As an individual, I have been looking for a game like Squad, not to replace it, but to augment it. That's new, that's fresh, that's invigorating and inviting, that has some of the same cinematic and thematic ability, has some of the same gameplay, but provides freshness, whether it's factions, equipment, weapons, modality, whether it's, character movement or abilities or something that add a little bit of freshness to it. And OWI, I will say, in the last 2 years has done a really great job at refreshing this game that is now, what are we on, year 12 or year 13 for this game since Project Reality days? But on the same token, a lot of the older breed of folks that played this game back in 2014, 2015, they're looking at this and going, this is not the same game that I grew to love. It's something different, and I want something fresh.
Right.
One of those things that we're looking at right now is Armor Forger. A year ago, when I personally, and then when we as a community kind of looked at that game, it really was not in a good place. It was not backed by a tremendous number of modders, which is necessary for almost any Bohemia title. And it was not in a really good place at the time. Now the modding community has flocked to that game. I mean, you have everything from fresh 3D models all the way through new game modes to, I believe there's even some guys that are working on some maps if they haven't, put those out already.
Yep.
And it's incredible. And I am a firm believer that having come from Arma 3 initially and played with a number of different groups, whether it's AFI, Friday Night Fights, SOG, many, many others that participate in Arma 3. I think that Bohemia has a kind of a stranglehold on Milsim shooters to some extent, just because of the sheer volume of opportunities that you can exhibit in those games. And Reforger's slowly creeping to that point that Arma 3 is at, but Arma 3's had a decade plus to get there.
Right.
I think that Reforger is going to be a big hit for us specifically. The number of people in the last month, as we've kind of really taken the pause button off and hit the play button to try and ramp this public server up and also look at opportunities to provide events in that format, has been incredible. We've had, I think, 30 or 35 staff applications in the last month specifically for that team. And I see that being kind of the next iteration of what Squad Ops is. It will be Squad forever until Squad is no longer a thing. But I think that there can be an evolution cycle where we are playing a game that is not Squad, enjoying it and participating in it and playing games that are just as meaningful and impactful that Squad has been. Now, I'm not going to hold my breath until Arma 4 comes out. But when that drops, I see that being the next thing that the modding community flocks to, as it'll be operating under, I'm assuming UE5, and it's going to bring a number of improvements that we saw from Arma 3 to Reforger, and from their kind of cycle in this Reforger thing into Arma 4 for, I hope, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have a long experience, in Milsim in this form of gaming going back to 2017. So it's going on 8 years that you've been running and gunning and also involved with Squad Ops here. And I think your assessment here is dead on. I mean, Reforger is getting up there. It definitely, with the last couple of updates, or 1.3 in particular, its
Hmm.
popularity exploded. With the cross-platform play now, people
Hmm.
on cons joining in, it became a real hit. A kind of public hit overnight. People who had never heard of Milsim, or at least never played it, suddenly were buying and getting into it. So I think the future is wide open, and with the mod, adaptability to Arma 4, we're going to be in a much better spot than we were with the release of Arma 3 in 2013. It took a good 2 years plus, to have just the basic mods that we need for a true Milsim experience in the game, and with this head start in Reforger, I think Armor 4 is going to be just ripe for that next level, next level of detail, immersion, but also just different types of operations, different sizes of players on the server. I'm really looking forward to what comes down the highway here soon enough. So 2027, it seems like forever, but we're going to blink, and hopefully we'll be
Hmm.
in for a huge surprise here. But yeah, Forger's where it's at, and I think for the next couple of years, and probably far beyond that, it's going to be a real viable platform. Especially with that console gameplay, you're going to get a lot of guys looking for that new experience or that next
Hmm.
level. So, future's wide open.
I
Now,
think, I think, and I would be remiss in saying, and I apologize for
no,
interrupting
no,
you,
go
but I
ahead,
would be
please.
remiss in saying, I think a contender for that, and I have an inside perspective that is unique, and there's some things that I cannot say as I'm under an NDA, but I will say that, um, Bellum, which is Karmakut and Barton's brainchild of a video game, is also going to be an incredible resource for the Milsim community. They are developing it specifically for Milsim gamers to participate and play with. I mean, you can look at the footage. It looks so beautiful. It's in an environment that's not currently well known, which is Africa. I spent a few deployments down there, operating, on the Horn as well as in other localities there, and getting to see a little bit of history. I would say from my own past, kind of play out in a video game is really freaking cool. Um, but also seeing some of my friends do something that incredible. I can't help but want to back them on everything that is Bellum, and I am really looking forward to watching more of their updates and the eventual release of that game. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, I saw the update vid a couple of days ago. I'm
mhm.
hungry for more. I mean, it sounds like they're on track. They've got a plan here. This is going to become a reality, hopefully sooner than later, and I'm definitely looking forward to get into and experiencing it for myself.
Very
So
much so.
that leads me to my question. So, you've done all this work, leading, developing, contributing to the unit here. What is it personally that keeps you coming back to Milsim? I mean, you mentioned that sometimes you want to change a pace, you want something fresh, but what is it that is the thing that really keeps you coming back and looking forward to the next game?
Well, to be honest with you, it's not about the game for me. It's about the community. I didn't stick around Squad Up specifically for Squad, even though the game has been fantastic for me. I've got a little over 4,000 hours in that single game alone. I mean, I've got about 2,000 hours in Arma 3, which is, pennies for some of these guys that have, like Lawn Darts as an example. He's a guy that's been around our community forever. And I want to say last count, he was approaching 15,000 hours in Squad, which is
Hmm.
insane to me. But for me, it was never about the game. It was always about the community. And I can laugh at it now. There were times I got a little upset about it, but you go to play games with friends and they'll have you download a game. And, whether you pay for it or otherwise, you download this game, you put it on your computer, you play it once or twice, and then guys will go, okay, well, we're going to move on to the next thing. Napoleon Total War is one of those. We picked that up, I don't know, 2 years ago again, and downloaded some mods for it. We played it, I would say 20 or 25 times. And since then, we haven't played it again. But some games we come back to. Hoi 4, Ready or Not, Arma 3, Armor Forger, Squad, Rust. Um, GeoGuessr, believe it or not, is a really fun one that we play on a regular basis. Some of the adults will have some drinks on a late Friday night, and we just sit down and try and look at images, on a screen to determine where in the world this image was taken at. And it's not about the game for me. It's always about the people. Uh, the best times of my, I would say, friendships, that kind of friendship life, for lack of a better term, in the last, I would say 5 years or so, have all come from squad ops. My kids are lovely, wonderful, important people, and they are the highlight of my life, and so is my family. But sometimes you need a break from reality, and squad ops provides that in a way that's meaningful, impactful, and allows you to kind of grow within the community as far as you want to grow. Um, you can meet up with people IRL. You can just hang out in the Discord and bullshit and talk with people. You can play one of the 25 games, whether it's Sea of Thieves or a poker night or whatever, and have laughs and enjoyment and entertainment that I can't get anywhere else. I mean, I don't have cable. I don't watch TV. When I want to relax and unwind at the end of the night, I hop in the Discord and see what guys are playing, and I'll hop in and play a game or two with them. Spend an hour and a half or 2 hours that way instead of watching, Wheel of Fortune or Tulsa Kings or whatever. Tulsa King, I think, is what it is. That's my unwinding time, and I love it. And I love the community, and I love the people.
Yep, absolutely. That's what Milsim is all about, man. I mean, it's not about the game; it's about the team. It's about the community, the people behind it. It's like COD. Yeah, you can go and kind of run in a straight line by yourself, but here it's something yeah, much deeper. Like you said, whether you're in game, spending 15,000 hours on the servers, or you're getting together on Discord or in real life for that matter. There's something to be said about that. That is real friendship, and yeah, that is real community. Times change, technology changes, but the relationships that you develop, those are something that you're going to hold, for your lifetime. So definitely, I can relate to it, and yeah, I can definitely offer that as a reality, behind the scenes of, whatever platform you're gunning on.
There's the social stigma sometimes about video games, which I understand, but at the same time I don't. But I've talked about this fairly often with a number of friends in squad ops and elsewhere as well. And online gaming is really today's version of the bowling league.
Yep. Yep.
I'm old enough to remember, my stepdad going out and playing darts with his buddies and having a few beers and laughs and hanging out. And I was young enough, grew up in a time where things were different. I go to the bar with them and I sit down and I have a Coke and I'm reading a book or watching them play darts or whatever, sitting in a smoky room. People are smoking cigarettes and enjoying and laughing and hanging out and having fun. And that's kind of what these online communities have become now. They're the repository for people to get out of their shell, do something maybe a little bit different than they might not be comfortable doing, getting them involved in a social network that is drastically different than going to work or school or, your family, and giving this perspective to people about who you really are, right? You get to kind of share your core beliefs with people. And with squad ops, we're accepting of those things, man. It doesn't matter your cut, color, creed, sexual orientation, religion, any of those things. We're here for you as a person. We're here to make sure that you are enjoying the things that you're doing, and we're here to keep you entertained and provide a safe environment that you can do that in.
Roger that. Now let me ask you, a personal question here about, gameplay and operations. Obviously, you've got a lot of experience. You've done a lot. You've seen a lot. Let's say you're designing your top dream operation or your mission. You've got somebody, you're a friend, or you're introducing them to squad or to the community. What would that dream op look for you? I mean, paint a picture for me.
Well, I have had I would say, blessing and curse of being able to develop operations for this community already. And most of them start out as, hey, we don't have a Christmas op this year that's new and fresh. Anybody want to make one? And I'm like, you know what? I've had a couple of adult beverages tonight. Let me sit down and think about a funny movie and then try and like parody it in some way into this game. So, whether it's Bad Santa or I can't remember the name of it was a really terrible Mel Gibson Santa movie where it's like it's a comedy in some respect, but it's definitely not supposed to be a comedy. Where he plays, a Santa that goes rogue because his elves are all killed, and he just has to get his revenge on, the corporate world it's the best operation that I've ever played in our community it's been a little while since we played it. It's called Joker's Wild. And our one of our long-term members is a gentleman named Wilbur. He was our manager of our media team for several years. And Wilbur and I share this blessing of both being Marines, both growing up. I'm going to say growing up because when you're 18, you're an adult legally, but you're not an adult mentally. He and I, had the blessing of kind of growing up in that environment, and he helped develop this mission called Joker's Wild, and it's a true user-generated experience. The commander picks an operation, so he picks from a series of things that they can do, both sides. And then it leads to kind of, do you remember reading those books when you were a kid where it was the Choose Your Own Adventure series?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So the next, you'd write something on there and you go, okay, I'm going to pick option B. And then it says, flip to page 27. You flip to page 27 and it's this thing. That's what Joker's Wild is. As the commanders make choices, as things unfold, there's options available to them. New things come to light. And it's one of those operations that changes every time you play it. The first time I played it, the commanders are going and doing their mission sets and they're running around each other. And they both technically achieved a victory, even though combat was really sparse. And so our event admins decided at that moment, you know what? We're just going to have you guys fight over this last point because 3 people on each side have died out of 50. Okay. You guys are going to fight over this last point. Here's your last command is to, for the INS to go here and recapture this location, or for, the U.S. Army to go here and, hit a crippling strike against the INS forces in the location. And the next time we played it, there were unarmed people running around as civilians doing crazy shenanigans until someone pulled out an RPG and blew up a MATV that led to a series of, armed conflict, hunting each other down in the streets, and people on top of the mosque shooting Mosins down into the infantrymen as they're trying to push forward. And it changes each and every time you play it. And it's so great. I would say that's still my favorite operation I've ever played because it changes so much, but it is technically one of the most difficult operations to pull off successfully because as an event admin, you have to be on your toes at all times. You have to be a master of that document and know what the next options are. And you have to be able to call the commanders on their bullshit. If they're doing something that's outside the rule set, you have to call them out on it and say, hey, that's not the option you picked, even though you found out this other information. You still chose this mission, and this is what your commander has agreed to. You want to change the mission set, you got to complete this one first. And I would say that's still my favorite mission as far as the document is concerned.
Yeah, it sounds like a hell of a good time to me. I mean, the kind of unpredictability, the uncertainty, the detailed nature of a plan that's still unfolding. That's what Milsim Gaming really offers that more conventional kind of shooters or run and gunning titles don't provide us in terms of the experience, that cinematic kind of perspective that we're all looking for, that you were mentioning at the beginning of the podcast here. That sounds like fun. Now,
it's an incredible experience for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and again, people, you got to check out the links here. But I wanted to ask you here. Let's say that you're going live. What is something that you would want people to look for in a stream, or if they're going back and checking a video from a past operation? I mean, when they're viewing your media, what do you want to kind of point out for people to take note of?
Well, the first thing I would point out is that if we're live on Twitch, comment, talk to us. When I stream, I love to see comments come across the board, whether it's just questions about the operations, questions about what cheese I'm eating that night. That's been a running joke with the podcast. Your founder actually sent me some cheese prior to having him on our podcast
Oh yeah,
because he wanted to make sure that I got some true cheese, not some newfangled stuff from the
that's
South
right.
here.
That's right.
Um, the don't be afraid. Don't be intimidated by a 10,000 subscriber count. None of that means anything. We're all people. We're all here looking to enjoy ourselves, and the best way that we can do that is through interaction with you guys. I would say, as far as our videos go, man, there's so many good ones. There were, I think, 4 that Karma did back to back to back that were kind of a cinematic dive into our operations. And if you go on Karma's YouTube channel, um, they're like his top 4 performing videos that he's ever put out.
Hmm.
I was asked and volunteered to be an actor in some of those scenes where he's trying to recreate some of the stuff that happens. And those are really good dives in number
The past
1,
10
what
years,
you can do in squad. Number 2, how we like to play squad. And number 3, just the silly antics that happen on a routine basis. There's one on there from Al Basra where we have to go in. We actually just played that this past weekend again, where you have to go in as a unit, and then there's a downed helicopter pilot who is injured, who can only walk or crouch walk. They can't sprint, and they have no weapon. And there's a SAR team that has been kind of dropped into the AO, and they're there to secure this pilot. And the goal is for the Blue 4 to get in there and extract him via helicopter, and for the INS to find him, either capture or kill him, and ultimately, deny the Blue 4 the ability to exfil from the location. And there's this scene. So if you go watch through some of those videos, I was a pilot. This was back before they redid all the helicopter stuff. I was a pilot for several of those scenes that are kind of the cinematic experience. I was actually one of the guys that was a team lead, fire team lead for the squad that was there to secure the principal, the pilot. And I died, I think, about 3/4 of the way through in that operation. But I got to watch in admin cam one of our, hotshot pilots, a guy named Jay Remick, come in, land on the rooftop of one of those 8-story buildings on Al Basra, and then watch the remainder of the team get into that helicopter under fire and get in the helicopter and exfil. And that was like adrenaline's pumping. It's like this scene out of Saving Private Ryan or Black Hawk Down or whatever. Just these vaunted cinematic experiences where you're rooting for the good guy to make it, even if you're on the bad guy team, because you just want to see it happen. And he gets in the helicopter and he actually made it out, and we won the round. And that's the thing that's the experience you're looking to achieve at these operations, and we do it well. I'm gonna say, with all humbleness out there, but I think we do it well, and I think we do it a lot better than most other folks do.
Well, fair enough. I think your media speaks for itself, so definitely people can see, put their own eyes on. I mean, definitely, it's like being in the movie, and that's one of the things I like about not just Milsim, but gaming in general, but in particular Milsim. It's like really with a well-developed mission, a good story, some great guys on your team, in your element. it really is like you put yourself in the middle of the movie. It's a little bit more pixelated, of course, but man, when the sound is going and like you said, the adrenaline's pumping, there really is no other experience like that online that I know of. So
Mhm.
definitely, I can relate 100%. Now, that leads me to the one of the favorite perennial questions of the podcast here. Our audience members, they love to hear this from the different units, different leaders out there. Talking about all the cinematics, all these great shots, these exhilarating missions. If you had to put Squad Ops into a movie, or a mini series, a TV show for that matter, which title do you think best captures? I mean, that's a loaded question, but which movie do you think, from your point of view, best fits the bill here?
It's that's a really tough question. Um, there are moments in time there where we're playing these things where it feels like a Three Stooges episode. Larry Curly and Moe beating the
Yep, yep.
shit out of each other, slapping each other on the head, that old slapstick comedy. And there are other times where you get these Band of Brothers or, Black Hawk Down or Saving Private Ryan or Enemy at the Gates or, whatever. Those truly deep emotional connection experiences. And the thing I would say, I don't have an answer for you. I'm gonna say that categorically because there's too many possible answers.
Okay.
But I would say that um, the thing that I look forward to the most at the end of an event is popping on a channel with some new guys and having them say the words, "Holy cow, I have never felt something like that before in my life." That's the feeling we're trying to approach. So whether it's the first time you saw Avatar, the first time you saw Saving Private Ryan, the first time you watched, first time you read through, a Tom Clancy novel, whatever it is, that's that experience we're trying to generate. Is that true emotional human connection to, to bring a little bit of excitement into your life for a 2 hour period that you'll remember, in the weeks to come.
I think that's pretty well said. Yeah, definitely. It's I can relate because I would be struggling to come up with a single title or even maybe a single subgenre of military movies for that matter. Because you guys cover so much. I mean, you have such a wide storyline across so many different titles. It really is a lot. But I mean, yeah, that's really good. And like I said, kind of making your own movie there. Maybe that's just the way it is. Whatever the title of that particular operation is, that particular game set. That's the movie for you. So, but I got to ask. You talked about your involvement with the community over all these years. How you've been on milsimunits.com working with us on the Discord. Let me ask. I mean, how has Milsim Units helped the unit? What have we done good for you guys? And for that matter, what are your gripes? Do you got any downs? Anything that we could do better, or that you want to see further from the platform as you're kind of planning and looking forward to the future here?
Um, I would say the biggest thing that you guys have helped us with is, I'll be honest, a reality check. We needed to have this reality check again, even though it was, you know, I felt it was fairly obvious, but I didn't have the time to consider, continue, pushing this endeavor. But folks like Culper and Brixie and Harmless and Vaseline and King and Carson, um, Whitesides. These guys are really looking at this and going, "There's a whole world outside of Squad Ops that we can provide entertainment value to these groups." And the only way that we can do that is if we truly have that exchange between people, that exchange of minds and that exchange of technology and that exchange of passion. And it doesn't matter if you've had, we've had our run-ins with other communities that have been poor, but that shouldn't dissuade us from wanting to try and push forward into the future. Guys like Dashby really pushing this thing for us to, get into the EITS tournament, and we're participating in a couple more as the summer season rolls forward. That would I'm not going to say that it wouldn't have happened without Milsim, but truly, I don't think that the push would have been there, and it was the initiating idea. It was you guys coming to us and saying, "Hey, let's get you on the website. Let's get you out there." And then these guys going to the website and going, "Holy crap! There's 50 other communities that play squad. There's 100 other communities that play armor 40 and armor 3. There's however many other communities out there on just this one website." And that for us was the biggest thing that you guys did for us, was just that gut check again. Reminding us that we need to persevere even when we have problems. That it's always worth it. I will say that you guys have provided some level of, again, a push for us to do new things. We had talked about doing a podcast for years and years and years. And in 2016, Karma did a couple of them. I think he did 5 or 6, maybe 7 of them. They did a couple of them while they were in person. And he was a kind of driving force for that. And when he decided he didn't want to do it anymore, it died off. And we've talked about just getting a group of the guys together that really vibe and communicate and riff off of each other together to kind of put something out there for the community. And watching your guys' Milsim podcasts has been one of those things where we look at it and go, okay, we need to do this, not just because these guys are doing it, not at all because you guys are doing it, but because we could see the value in providing yet another outlet for that social media aspect of people to engage in. Coper he was an AM for me under community team, and then when he reached a point where I couldn't maintain all of the structure that he was operating on as an AM, it's like, all right, you obviously have a passion for this. You've created this whole thing from scratch. This is your baby. Run with it. You're a manager now. Do your thing. Operate this team. And Coper has really taken us to that next step of posting things on Instagram, posting things on TikTok, making sure that our VODs get uploaded to YouTube again. That kind of refresh, recycle approach that so many other communities do well. Your guys's podcast is great, and it was one of those things that we looked at and went, okay, we need to do this for us, and it was a good push. As far as things to do better, just keep doing you. You guys are going to go through cycles where you have ups and downs. You're going to go through cycles just like any other business. I mean, let's face it. That's kind of what these things are in some aspect. It's a organizational structure. You might not make a ton of money at it, but there is some form of funds being exchanged, whether it's from squad ops or if it's from you guys. And you're going to have these ups and downs. Just keep fighting the good fight. It gets better. The first couple of years, you have this drive and passion, and then folks kind of lose that drive and passion because it gets hard. Don't quit. It gets better. It always gets better. I guess if I had a single gripe, increase the member count, baby, so we can show our true colors on the website. No, I'm kidding, man. But
Nah.
there's not anything that you guys are doing wrong. I love everything that you guys have out there. I pay for our Milsim website account out of my own pocket because I believe in what you guys are doing, and I want to see us grow as squad ops, and I want to see you guys grow as well. So.
Well, I appreciate that. Solid feedback across the board there. And it's good to hear your perspective of what we're doing, right, what we're doing well, and what more there is. Definitely, we're just as geared towards the future as you are. LaFlash and company, the staff, the devs, they are all working, for the vision here. We're coming up on, our second year, of full operations here, and we just want to bring out the best. I mean, that's what community about Milsim is all about: bringing out the best in people. We're looking for a particular experience. Just talking to you, going over just the depth and breadth of everything you offer in the community. It's been a real pleasure, Captain. Great to have you on the podcast. And yeah, personally, am, and I know LaFlash and everyone else, Jake and the rest of the team, they're looking forward to working with you and see what we can't do, just to make the most of what we got going here.
Amen to that, man. Well, I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to the next endeavor that you guys push out. Thanks for having me on the podcast. Thanks for taking the time, and hopefully, we'll get to chat soon.
Definitely looking forward to it. Now, I mean, yeah, we covered a lot here, but is there anything that we left out? I mean, if there's one more thing that you want, the wider audience, and I got to say, we get thousands of clicks on the website. We got hundreds of active users on the Discord. To be honest, I don't have this month's count in terms of units, but we've got many, many hundreds. Like close to 400, maybe even more now, different units on the platform. So we're still growing. We know there's other people out there that are into gaming, into Milsim, and maybe just haven't even heard of us yet. And with the crossplay with the console gamers, I'm looking forward to what that might bring. But back to my question here, what more do you want to say about Squad Ops for someone who's curious, who this is their first time hearing about you guys?
Well, there's two things. The first thing is, don't be daunted by the size of the Discord. Don't be daunted by any of that stuff. Like I said before, we're all people. We're all here to get together, have a good time, enjoy ourselves. We love new people. We love new experiences. We love new thoughts and ideas, and having people bring things to the table that we might not have even thought of. Come in, be a part of it, be as big or of as small a part of it as you possibly want. For any of the other, folks out there, community leaders or otherwise, if we haven't had an introduction, that is entirely my fault. I apologize. Hit me up on Discord. I don't know if you want to post a link for my profile. You're welcome to. Send me a message. Let's chat, see what we can do for each other, see what we can do to, augment each other's events and have us out to your stuff, and you guys can come out to our stuff. And I guess the last thing I would say, is one of my favorite quotes from any movie of any time. Robin Williams is an incredible human being. He says, some people can never believe in themselves until someone believes in them. And I think truly that is what Squad Ops is about. We're about believing in people, giving them the ability to showcase everything that they have the capability of doing, and then giving them that boost, that kick in the butt when it comes to real life, of saying, hey, you did this here, man, you kicked ass here. You took this thing by the balls and did everything that you possibly could with it. You can do the same thing with your job, with your college, with your military career, with your family, with your kids, with whatever. If you did it here, you can take that same drive, motivation, and effort and put it forward. And it's because we believe in you. That's it, man. That's what I got.
Good shit. I mean, you said it all right there, man. So I really appreciate that. You don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk, and I think your success, your own, the fruits of your own leadership here, the growth and development and sustainment of Squad Ops over these years. I mean, yeah, it really is outstanding. It's an amazing thing to see. And truly, I'm looking forward to the future and what the months and years ahead bring to you guys. I'll be watching and talking with you, and hopefully sharing some of the same experiences here in that light. So definitely looking forward to the future. Captain Morgan, it has been a pleasure. Again, I'll have all the links here below in the description. Remember, look for Liberal on the Discord if you want to get on the server, man. He'll get you squared away. Get your boots on the ground to take the next couple of steps and get deeper in to the community and the experiences there. So Really great podcast. Looking forward to talking to you again, Captain. Thanks so much for being here with me tonight.
I love being here. Thank you again. And have a great night, everybody.
All right, ladies and gents. So, again, a lot to review here. I'll put some timestamps in the description so you guys can go back and check some stuff. I mean, obviously, there's a lot to learn from somebody like Captain Morgan here, and the other leaders that make this unit what it is. But until next time, this is C. Brock signing off.